Let me tell you something wild. Sometimes you wake up, make a cup of coffee, and next thing you know, you're being sued for parking in your own driveway. Yeah, you heard that right. My name's Ethan, and this is the story of how my snowplow truck, a frozen Tuesday morning, and one HOA president with a grudge turned my life upside down. Don't laugh, this could happen to you too. So picture this: 5 years back, I bought this solid little ranch house on Oakmont Drive. Quiet street, decent folks. Just me, my truck, and a regular life. Everything was fine until 2 years after I moved in, a homeowners association popped up out of nowhere. If you've never dealt with an HOA, count your blessings. At first, they didn't bother me much. I run a snow removal business in winter, so my plow truck just sat in my driveway minding its own business. That all changed when Brenda Morrison took over as HOA president. I swear Brenda has that look like she's always 2 seconds away from complaining to a manager, you know? Always in that purple fleece jacket hair and a tight ponytail, lips pursed like she's chewing on a lemon. Last February, she decided my truck was an eyesore or a hazard or whatever HOA people call things they don't like. I just call it a truck. Anyway, on this particular morning, I'm inside savoring my second cup of coffee. The snow's piled up about 4 inches from the night before. Suddenly, boom! This metal-on-metal crunch shakes the whole house. My mug almost slipped right out of my hand. I drop it in the sink. Rush outside, no shoes. Just socks, instantly regretting it because, yeah, it's freezing out. My toes are numb in seconds. And there it is. Brenda's white minivan mashed into the side of my plow truck. Steam hissing out from her hood. Her van jammed at such an angle you'd think she was aiming for it. My truck's been shoved 2 feet back door caved in plow blade, crooked deep grooves scratched into my own driveway. Brenda climbs out, not a hair out of place, just a little scratch on her forehead. And before I can say anything, she points straight at my truck, her fingers shaking, her eyes wild. "Your vehicle is illegally parked and creating a hazard." She yells like she's rehearsed this line 100 times. Now I'm standing there, socks wet, steam coming off both the van and my own ears. "It's my driveway," I tell her. "That's my truck. On my property." Doesn't faze her at all. She whips out her phone quoting some HOA rule section 7.3 commercial vehicles, blah blah. Starts snapping photos. Of my truck, not her wrecked van. I look at the tire tracks in the snow trying to make sense of it. She must have turned too sharp. Maybe she was delivering one of her violation notices and hit the gas instead of the brake. You ever see someone so determined to be right they bulldoze straight through reality? That was Brenda, and she's already threatening lawyers. By now, my neighbor Tom's standing outside bathrobe and all arms crossed, just shaking his head. Tom knows what Brenda's like. Last month, she tried to fine him for his trash cans being visible from the street on a Wednesday. I try to keep it together. "We need to call the police," I say. "But Brenda, she's already dialed." "I've called them." She snaps, still busy photographing my truck like she's collecting evidence for the next episode of Cops HOA Edition, for my insurance claim and the lawsuit. Now you might be thinking nobody could possibly blame you for parking your own truck on your own property. You'd be wrong. Brenda's got it all mapped out in her head. "You'll be hearing from my lawyer," she says, like it's a threat and a promise at the same time. The cop shows up, Officer Patterson, good guy. I've seen him at the diner before. He tries to get both sides of the story, but Brenda's off to the races, rattling off regulations and hazardous situations and emotional distress. Officer Patterson listens, then turns to me. I give him my version, my truck, my driveway, minding my own business until the crash. He walks around, measures everything, looks at the skid marks, checks the distance from the street to my truck. Then he says, "Miss Morrison, your van is entirely in Mr. Quillen's driveway. Can you explain why you were here?" She tries the old, "I was just doing my duty as HOA president" routine, but Officer Patterson isn't buying it. "That doesn't give you the right to drive onto someone's property," he tells her. He asks if my truck's registered and insured. Of course it is. I run inside, finally get shoes on, hand him the paperwork. At this point, Brenda's in the back of a cruiser, still shouting into her phone. Then a second cop car rolls up. "Sergeant Morrison, no relation, thank God." She takes a look around, asks if I have security cameras. Turns out, yeah, I do. After all the nasty notes Brenda's left me, I thought it'd be smart. I pull up the footage. It's all there: Brenda turning into my driveway, suddenly gunning it, no attempt to break straight into my truck. Sergeant Morrison watches it and just sighs. "Miss Morrison," she says to Brenda, "this is a clear case of careless driving. You'll be cited." Brenda's red face sputtering, and I'm relieved. But she isn't done. Next morning, I find a letter taped to my door. The HOA's fining me $500 for illegal parking plus extra for creating a safety hazard. She says she'll fine me $100 a day until the truck is gone. If you're wondering if I paid, let me save you the suspense, not a penny. I call my lawyer Dennis. Now Dennis is a bear of a man, beard, plaid shirts, the works. He's sharp though. You've got a good case, he says. She trespassed, she hit your truck, you've got video, you've got witnesses, you've got police reports. Let her sue. We'll counterclaim for everything, damages, lost income, harassment, the works. Of course, Brenda does sue. Claims $50,000 in damages, medical bills, pain, suffering, the whole list. Says I created a hazardous condition as if my truck was lying in ambush. Her minivan, by the way, had over 100,000 miles on it, worth maybe $8,000 tops. Here's where it gets good. My neighbor Tom and a couple others agree to testify for me. Turns out Brenda's made herself a lot of enemies. There's also Gerald, a retired attorney in the neighborhood. He digs into the HOA's insurance policy, finds out it won't cover any damages if the president acts outside her authority. And since I never signed any agreement when I bought my place before the HOA existed, the rules never really applied to me. A new twist, Brenda gets booted as president. The HOA actually apologizes, pays for my rental truck, and drops out of the lawsuit. Brenda's left on her own, no insurance backing, no HOA lawyer. She gets a new attorney, but honestly, at this point, her case is a sinking ship. Court day comes. Judge Thornton presiding. Brenda's lawyer tries to make it about the community, about rules, about protecting the neighborhood. Dennis, my lawyer, just plays the video, shows the jury exactly what happened. We run through every bit of evidence, police reports, witness statements, HOA, bylaws, everything. The jury doesn't buy Brenda's act. They see right through it. When the verdict comes back, I barely breathe. We find in favor of the defendant, the foreman says, meaning me. On my counterclaim, they award me $45,000, enough to cover damages, lost work, even some attorney's fees. I get the check 2 weeks later. No note from Brenda. She sells her house and leaves town. New neighbors move in, a young couple with a baby. They're thrilled to have someone who plows driveways in winter. The HOA, with Patricia, the new president, it's normal. They take care of the common areas, organize potlucks, leave folks alone. I keep my plow truck in the driveway exactly where it's always been. The best part, Tom and I become good friends. He comes over for beers, our families hang out, life's normal again. Now I want you to think about this. Have you ever watched someone let a tiny bit of power go to their head? Maybe a boss, a neighbor, someone in charge of a group. They start out thinking they're helping, but before you know it, they're making everyone miserable. Brenda honestly believes she was saving the neighborhood. Turns out all she did was stir up trouble and make herself the villain. It took months, a mountain of paperwork, more stress than I care to remember, and a jury of regular people to sort it out. But in the end, the system worked. The facts mattered. The truth came out. The little guy this time came out on top. That's my story of how an HOA president crashed her van into my plow truck and then tried to sue me for being parked on my own property. Maybe you've dealt with something like this. A neighbor, a boss, someone who used their authority as a weapon. Maybe you just like a good story where the underdog wins. Either way, let me ask you this. Where do you draw the line between enforcing the rules and just being a bully? Have you ever stood your ground against someone misusing their power? Or maybe you've seen someone get steamrolled and wanted to step in. I'd love to hear your take. Tell me what's the craziest HOA or neighborhood drama you've ever witnessed. Do you think HOAs do more harm than good? Or are they necessary to keep people like me in line? Go ahead, drop your stories below. Let's see whose neighborhood is really the wildest. And if you're ever thinking of running for HOA president, maybe take a breath first. Remember Brenda? And maybe just leave the plow trucks alone.